It's Wednesday, December 14th, 2022. I'm Larissa. It's my video diary. I had an awful dream last night. I dreamed that I was walking down the street in Rochester Hills, where I went to high school, and this woman came walking at me wearing a brown trooper uniform and beat me with a flashlight. There was this cop this one time in Rochester, Officer Prose, who gave me a ticket for running a stop sign, running a red light that I didn't run. I was coming home late from a gig. I was in a band, and we had just finished loading all of the equipment into the equipment closet, and it was late. It was past when I was supposed to be home, and I was on my way home. There was a car in front of me, and I was driving my mom's Escort. She had a red Escort wagon. That's what I was driving. And there was a red Escort, not a wagon, but a two-door red Escort in front of me. Because it was a really popular car. And it ran the red light. I remember sitting at the light being like, oh my God, you just ran that light. I remember thinking, oh, I guess you thought no cop, no stop. Because that's what, anyway, Emily Edie used to say. No cop, no stop. And she used to run stop signs. And I was sitting, and so I waited, and I turned, and then I was real close to being to the house. Because it was just around the corner from pulling into our neighborhood. And when I pulled into the driveway, all of a sudden behind me, there were all these lights. And I got out of my car, because I'm like, what the hell? I thought there was something wrong in the house. I'm like, did somebody break, because we'd had a number of break-ins. Did somebody break in? Did somebody get hurt? What happened? I got out of the car, and the cop pulls out this bullhorn, and she's like, and it was late. It was like 1 a.m. And she's like, please remain in your vehicle. And I was like, oh my God. Got back in the car. Well, then my mom comes out in her house coat and pajamas. And the cop pulls out her bullhorn, and she's like, because my mom's approaching the cop car, and the cops and the bullhorn's like, step away from the vehicle. It's like, oh my God. So the cop finally gets out of the car, and my mom's standing there, and I'm sitting in the car like, what the hell is going on? And the cop comes up to my window. She's like, do you know why I'm pulling you over? I'm like, you're not pulling me over. I said, I'm in my driveway. And she's like, you're lucky I don't arrest you for fleeing and abetting. And I'm like, fleeing and abetting what? She's like, you ran a red light. I'm like, no, I didn't. And she's like, and you didn't pull over when I was behind you. And I said, I didn't know you were behind me. I didn't know she was behind me. It was dark, and there were no lights back there, right? There were no street lights. It was just really dark. And all there was any light that was out was light from either houses or from the stoplight. It's real dark back there, really, really dark, and they got big trees. Not as big as here, but still. And my mom's like, and my mom said, you didn't have your lights on. She's like, she's like, yes, I did. And I was like, no, you don't. No, you didn't. How was she supposed to see you? No, to pull over. You didn't have any lights on. And she's like, well, I suppose you were sitting up watching. My mom goes, Well, as a matter of fact, I was, because she's 17 and she's way past her curfew. I was sitting in the window watching for her. She said, "You didn't have any lights on." She said, "I couldn't see you were a cop car until you pulled into the driveway." And I was just like, oh my God. So this woman she ended up giving me a ticket after like threatening me and threatening to arrest my mother. She's like, "I don't know what you have under." And my mom said, "You think I have a gun under my house coat?" She's like, "It's 1 o'clock in the morning." Yeah, seriously. So that's who this cop was in the dream. In the dream, she beat me um, with her flashlight. I was terrified. It's because I was just like really, really, really confused. And then she didn't show up for the court date, so the ticket was dismissed. And we found out she lost her job after that, not because of that, but because of something else. There was an industrial park that was up around the corner, and it got robbed, and that was her beat. And she failed to show up for the alarm, which was she was supposed to do. They fired her. When I went to court for that ticket, that's when I saw Jack Kevorkian and Jeffrey Feiger, because they were in the courthouse. I don't know, maybe I had that dream about her and to remind, because of that, subconsciously, because I was thinking about Jack Kevorkian. Because yesterday I was thinking about that time I encountered the assisted suicide thing. I don't know. I don't believe in betting on beings. I don't believe in it. I think it is morally and ethically reprehensible to bet money on human beings. I do. I think it should be illegal. I think it should be illegal because it corrupts the game, and it corrupts the system, and it creates an environment where beings are easily abused. I think it's wrong. I think it's really wrong. I do. It upsets me. Oh, in the dream, my face was all cracked. And I remember saying, at least she didn't use a hammer. And like in the dream, I crouched down on the ground and put my arms over the back of my head. She was beating me, beating me, beating me. I was trying to cover my temples so she wouldn't hit my temples. Trying to cover my temples and my occiput. My face was all busted up. My lip, I could feel like my lip was all swollen and my eye socket was all swollen. And I was walking around talking to people. They're like, "Oh." I guess they're going out to do chickens now. Mm. I am embarking on a really big change in my life right now. And I'm excited about it. I'm also kind of nervous. I've been living with chronic pain now for so long, and since moving to Santa Cruz, it has gotten so much worse, the chronic pain. And I don't think it's necessarily because of being in Santa Cruz so much as it is the pandemic and being stuck in the house, right? And I've been so isolated for so long. Like, it has been so long since I have had like regular contact with people, right? I spend 90% of my time alone. I mean, Omar's here, but he's working, right? And he and I really don't spend any time together. You know, it's functional. We have our routine, and most of the time is spent just trying to stay out of each other's way. Um, the closest things to relationships I have in my life, the closest things, are the woman who does my nails and you know, she's nice and everything, but you know, I pay her to do, you know, I'm paying her. I don't have any kind of relationships, zero. And you know, I think part of that is the pandemic started so soon after we moved here, and you know, in addition to that, it's like my physical activity has been so curtailed, and you know, that has really affected my mobility because all the things that I have done, whether it was yoga or dance or whatever, the point was to um, maintain my mobility and flexibility because I've been living with chronic pain since long before we moved here, right? I don't know. And I'm just so used to I'm just very used to being beaten down, you know? I'm just very used to being beaten down and manipulated, right? In these past few years, I've really felt like a prisoner. And it's not a nice feeling. finding out that my uncle died, and nobody even let me know. I it's been really hurtful. I periodically I do a search for obituaries for my family, for the last names of my family, right? Just to see, people still alive? Are they dead? You never know. I don't have a feeling of belonging to any group. I have zero feeling of belonging. I've been living in almost total isolation. How are chickens? Are you ignoring me? I didn't hear you. So, Steve Holt and Camilla were living in the same coop with the Barred Rock girls, Tootie Bird and Snooty Bird. Well, Tootie Bird and Snooty Bird are the oldest birds, and they stopped laying for the cold season and while they were molting. Well, Camilla kept laying eggs, and they were very, very jealous of Camilla. Yeah, because she was, number one, laying eggs, and number two, because Steve Holt and Camilla, he likes to snuggle with her. Well, they've been picking on Steve Holt for a long time. Well, then they started picking on Camilla. And so Omar moved Camilla and Steve Holt into the enclosure that Baby Cakes had been in, and put Baby Cakes, who is Mean Bird. She's the one that was coupled with Fluffernutter, and Fluffernutter bit off the top of her head. And then she became mean, aggressive towards the birds. Anyway, put her in with the Barred Rocks, because if they're going to be aggressive, she's going to be aggressive, they can be aggressive together. And then he moved Fluffernutter over to the other side, because he's violent. He's not just aggressive. He's a violent bird. So everybody seems to be much happier now. Steve and Camilla snuggle all day, because that's what they like to do. And the Barred Rocks and Baby Cakes crank and strut around like big mean birds, like big mean hens. They're not big, they're little. Baby Cakes is actually a little bird. And Fluffernutter looks at Baby Cakes. So everybody seems happier now. I went up and saw them yesterday. It's hard for me to get up that hill. It is. And I went over to check the hive, and I think our bees are dead too. And there's huge fungus bloom on the property right now. There's been lots of rain, but I have counted yesterday when I was out. I counted like 8 or 9 visually different species of mushroom that I saw. I don't know. These are the things I'm thinking about. Thank you. He has headphones in. That's why he didn't hear me. Anyway, my life's about to change. significantly. I hope it's good. I'm trying not to dwell on it too much. It's like I said, in the past, when I've allowed myself to get excited about something or to be really invested in something, it always just gets destroyed, and that hurts. What am I talking about? We're opening a gallery. We're moving my studio space. I'm going to have a studio gallery in a public place. I always just feel like a big, giant failure because everything I do is a failure. And I truly believe like my whole life has been a waste, and this is a big financial commitment, and but I'm tired of just giving everything away, right? I'm tired of giving everything away, and I'm tired of everything being stolen. So I don't know. It's exciting, but like I said, I'm hesitant because anytime I get excited about anything, I don't allow myself to be excited. I don't feel happiness or joy about anything anymore because whenever I start to allow myself to feel good about things, I get beaten down. That's probably what the dream was about. Just anticipating being beaten down once more. Just being honest. You know? Yesterday and the day before, I was in so much pain. I was in so much pain. I was in so much pain. I made pierogies yesterday. Oh my god. I made potato, sauerkraut, and mushroom. So I made 3 varieties. And then I got my tea over here. And then I made a fresh horseradish and sour cream sauce to go up to topping, you know. They were really good. Yeah, big fat girl eating big fat girl food. No, that's not normally how, you know, I make something like that, like maybe once a week or once every other week, right? I made raviolis last week. I don't normally do that. It's just the holiday season, right? Normally, what do I cook during the week? Normally during the week, I make soup. Or baked fish. Or salad. That's normally stuff that I make. I'm doing a lot of baked fish. I've been doing a lot of baked fish and soups recently. My Christmas tree. I don't know. Christmas has kind of lost its meaning to me. Christmas time is now a time I associate with death and loss. And I've been having muscle spasm down the back of my arm. So I fell that one time roller skating, right? Somebody was dropping stuff on the floor. And there was a ponytail holder. And it got stuck up in my skate and I fell. And I had a huge bruise on my ass and I broke my arm. And I've had, nerve issues in this arm since then. And then when that thing popped in my back during Lent, since then it's been like this arm is much, much weaker. What was I doing around that time? I was doing wood carving at that time. I haven't gone back to it. I still have the piece down there. And I think that's what spurred the injury when that thing popped in my back. I think it was from the reverberation of doing the wood carving, right, with the chisel and the hammer. I think that's what did it. Because that was the project I was working on, the piece I was working on at the time. So I have these 3 giant pieces of wood down there that I had intended to make a sculpture from. But I don't know if that's going to happen, so maybe I should just tell Omar to cut them up and burn them. They're beautiful, beautiful pieces of wood. I don't know, maybe I'll try to sell them, take them down to the gallery, use them in display. Yeah, that's probably what I'll do, use them for display. Like pedestals. Anyway. We'll see. I'll, once we get closer to grand opening, I'll talk more about it. But we got our lease, so I can say it out loud. Opening a gallery, a gallery studio, a studio gallery. There's going to be a lot more room in this house, that's for sure. Maybe I'll even be able to do yoga again. Oh, on a regular basis, because that's really what's keeping me from doing yoga regularly, is not having an open space that's like easily accessible. Like, it's hard to even walk in this room right now because of the paintings and everything. So why do I do it? Why do I make stuff? Because what the hell else am I going to do with my time? What else am I going to do? Volunteer work? That has not been fulfilling. It hasn't brought anything good into my life. I'm not saying that I haven't done things that haven't been helpful to community or whatever, but the cost to myself has been way too high. Attempts on my life and, literally attempts on my life. I'm not volunteering for anything anymore. People just get mad at you and it's just like a constant struggle. What else would I do with my time? The truth is, I can't not make things. It's like how I work. That is like, that's me. That's my identities. That's me. I make things. That's what I do. There's nothing wrong with that. Right? It's not like I'm out selling drugs. It's not like I'm out getting in trouble. Anyway. Oh well. Anyway. We'll see how it goes.